Welcome to Pacific Mystery School. Yes, we are sitting in the heart of the Western mystery tradition, and this is also the home of Terra Nova Seminary. New ground, new ways of being, new ways of understanding. So all of us are working in these energies in our way. All of that, the Pacific Mystery School, the Terra Nova, and the Tarot of the Spirit is all based on the Tree of Life. So the Tree of Life is the foundational, paradigmatic material that we're working with, and that provides a place for us to, in a certain sense, go back to, find our bearings, and also to help us realize that we're not stuck in any given place. We can move about with the different things that we are learning. Today we are celebrating Beltane, May Day, May 1st. Very exciting, fabulous, wonderful time in terms of the cross-quarter holidays, because it is actually the peak of spring. We're right in the middle of the element of spring, and the element of spring is Earth herself. This is May Day. Is here where we live is the riotous fields of wildflowers springing up everywhere, and this is the moment. This is their moment. All of the wildflowers, all of the plants, and this year all of the plants are so happy because we've had a lot of rain, and everywhere you look you see edible and medicinal plants. The earth is blanketed with these beautiful edible and medicinal plants. This is spring, and we are in the middle of this space of the celebration of spring, and it's all about fertility. You know, here comes the earth. She rises again. She is fertile. She is full. She is rich. The loam is thick and full with seeds, and she returns, she returns, she returns. And here we are in this extraordinary beauty. In days of old, it was before we had Safeway, King Supers, all of these grocery stores and so on. People were very reliant upon those fields to produce. And so very reliant upon the weather, hoping to get the rain. Big problems if there's a lot of drought, a big drought or something like that, and the fields aren't producing. And so Beltane, throughout parts of the European continent and the British Isles, and probably elsewhere in the world, but I don't know about it, became a day in terms of the celebration of fertility. Well, first I'll tell you this part. That's the Maypole Day, right? Mm-hmm. Maypole, putting up a maypole, doing the maypole dance, and you know what that is, right? There's streamers coming off the top of a big pole, and then the dancers dance in opposite directions holding the streamers. If you didn't know about this dance, it's an amazing dance, because what it indicates is when you move in and out of each other in this pattern, and you're holding your streamer, and what happens is your streamers, as you're dancing, get tighter and tighter and tighter till you're at the center of the pole. It gets all wrapped up, right? Then you go the other direction and you unwind until you wind up in an outer circle, all holding your streamers, and it's a lot of fun. Okay, but what is that dance? What is the dance, the maypole dance? What it is the dance of the universe, the cosmos, weaving itself, moving in toward the pole, and then moving out again, moving in, moving out, moving in, moving out, continually expanding and contracting. A metaphor for Earth, for the seasons, for life. And that is the dance, the great maypole dance. And maybe in that maypole dance, in a lot of places, there has been someone appointed to be the queen of the May, Queen of the May. Have you ever heard that phrase? You know, and the Queen of the May is going to be maybe a young girl who gets to preside over the ceremony or something like that. Later, what happened as time progressed, and I'm not going to go into the details about this right now, but May Day also became known as Mary's Day. Mary. And Mary oversees the month of May. So that's another piece of it that came into the fore. And the part I wanted to tell you, the part I'm leading up to, is a celebration. I was talking about the fields and the fertility and the blooming. Maybe after all the children and everybody did their maypole dance and celebrated the Queen of the May and the May parade, and maybe then Mary is even presiding later, you know, over the May parade, and here's the little Queen of the May and all of that. After all those people who are involved in that go to bed or something like that, the older people pair up, and it can even be random, and go out in the fields and make love. That was a big part of what happened. Okay, why did they do that? You know, well, does anybody know why they did that? This is part of the ceremony. So why did they do it?
Fertility.
Fertilizing
Yes,
the soil.
making sure that this fertility was going to continue in these fields. And that was the one time of the year that you could, it was okay to be with whomever you wanted to be with. And it was all right.
They still do it.
Yeah, and it's okay,
Who was
right?
they?
In Germany, my friend said they were still doing it when she was living there.
See, there you go. It is still being done. It's not an outmoded idea. I bet you people in San Francisco will be doing it tonight. All right. So there they go, you know, out into the field to celebrate. And then interesting that if any children emerged out of those unions, those children were considered to be sacred. These are sacred children. They came out of the May. And I think it's interesting that the May, they also said, this is also interesting to me too, May is an unlucky month for marriage.
Oh,
Okay?
because of this?
Well, I kind of put it together in my own mind. Why is May unlucky for marriage? But June is the month of marriage. Mm-hmm. So interesting that this coupling in the fields actually precedes the month of marriage. So then comes the month of marriage in June, and then you can just follow the year around. Like what are the prevailing energies of that particular month? So, and I think it's interesting that also in May, here in the United States, we celebrate Mother's Day in May, right in the peak of May. We know where that holiday came from. You know, it was from the armed forces and all this stuff. But actually, there's probably a much deeper meaning behind Mother's Day that is more ancient than coming out of the armed forces and writing your mom a letter and that kind of stuff. So on Mother's Day. But just to contemplate this for a moment, that May Day and this wild, random sexuality precedes Mother's Day, and then Father's Day comes along in June. Okay? Because fatherhood is not imagined until motherhood is ascertained, which is kind of interesting. Those are just some random ideas. Anyway, so here we are at it in this moment of the year, which is so spectacular. And if we look at the Tarot family calendar, which is in Kabbalah and Tarot of the Spirit, it's a calendar of the year based on the Tarot cards. What we see is that the predominant energies of this day, of Beltane, of this moment, happen to be Earth brother and Earth sister. Also, the One of Earth, which is the One of Earth is new possibility on the material plane, and the Six of Earth, which is the beauty way, walking in beauty. that I want to tell you a secret that's very interesting. It's not a secret, but most people don't know about it, about the Earth brother and the Earth sister. So on the tarot, so I have to get out my Tree of Life diagram and just show you that in the tarot, this is a Tree of Life diagram, and every suit, the fire, the water, the wind, and the earth, fits on this diagram of the Tree of Life. So in a sense, it's like you have 4 diagrams of the Tree of Life, because you've got one that's all in fire, one that's all in water, one that's all in wind, one that's all in earth. Then you have, at the top of each one of those suits, you have the 4 face cards or court cards. One would be the father, one's the mother, one's the brother, one is the sister. Okay, so all the fathers fit in or around number 2, Hakma, and then all the mothers fit around the number 3. All of the brothers fit around the number 6, and all the sisters on the number 10. But fire, water, and air alone do not come into manifestation. You have to have earth holding the fire, the water, and air. This is one way to look at it. It's one perspective, that fire, water, and air are the elements that spin into manifestation upon the earth. Okay, so in the whole, you could say in the entire suit of fire, it's not manifest because it needs both the water and the air and the earth in order to manifest. Okay, so the whole suit of fire is not necessarily manifest yet. The whole suit of water is not necessarily manifest yet. This is just one way of looking at it, because this is not necessarily the way you would look at it if you're doing tarot readings. But I'm just going to continue and see if you can catch this. The whole suit of wind is not yet manifest. And then the manifestation begins in the suit of earth. But here's another secret. The 1, 2, and 3 at the top of the Tree of Life, they say, from a different perspective, is not yet manifest. It's the potential for existence. So then when you cross the abyss on the Tree of Life, the 4 and 5 would be the first cards that you would come to, or the first parts of the Tree of Life that exist on the plane of manifestation. But there aren't any person type cards like court cards in the 4 or the 5. The first place where there's a court card is in the number 6, the court card of the face card. That's the father, mother, brother, and sister. So the first manifest below the abyss card that you come to in the path through the tarot is the earth brother, because the father and the mother, if you look at it from this angle, are not yet in the field of manifestation. You have to go below the abyss, and then you get to earth brother as manifest, and earth sister as manifest. Earth sister fits in the 10s, earth brother in the 6s, that energy. So basically, this may be a little bit hard to follow. I have another recording about this under, it's called the Tarot Family members. But the idea is that right now, in the time frame that we are in, right now in May Day, with this May Day energy happening, this Beltane energy happening, that these 2 living beings are walking the planet, and in fact they're walking the planet all year long, but this is the moment of recognizing those 2, which would be earth brother and earth sister, during this segment of spring, and especially right now while earth brother is appearing also in the calendar, right? So it is a very, very auspicious and special moment, and perfect for those fertility rites of Beltane and all of that. Okay, I will put in a disclaimer here and say, oh wow, that's so male and female, like everything falls into male and female. Really, we all contain the male and female. This is my parenthetical. The male is our emitting energy, the female is our receptive energy, and truly we're all on a great continuum, and we may not be actually just falling into either female or male. So I just want to make that clear. But the point here is that this exalted energy is walking on the earth in human form at this time, and this is the time for us to celebrate that, especially right now with Beltane. Does that make sense? Is that making sense? Because this is all about fertility and coming into being. Okay, so now I want to talk about the idea that we're moving into not only the beauty way and understanding what it means to walk in beauty, but what it means to walk in beauty as an exalted being who is understanding the nature of what it means to awaken like spring, that we can awaken as spring, we can awaken like spring. And when we find this place within ourselves where we are awakening in the heart of spring, in the center of spring, as the glory of spring, this energy is what is called the Shekhinah energy, or the Sophia energy, or the Shakti energy. So I want to talk about what the Shekhinah is, what the holy Shekhinah is. Earth Sister from Tarot of the Spirit represents the radiant energy of the holy Shekhinah. She also represents Sophia and Shakti. She's the creative energy, the creative principle that dwells within each of us. She is creative energy surging, that surging fertility within each one of us. And that surging fertility within each one of us can appear on the surface so that it can even be seen by those who have eyes to see. Shekhinah, the idea of Shekhinah has been with us for a very long time, and now I want to talk about the way that this Shekhinah has been defined. Shekhinah has been defined as divine presence, as divine immanence in the world, as the Holy Spirit, as the manifestation of God upon the stage of the world. In the Talmud, it is said, in the same way that the sun in the sky illumines with its rays every corner of the earth, so the Shekhinah, the effulgence of God, may make its presence felt everywhere. Light, light. Shekhinah is light, the earth shining in all her glory. The Shekhinah is defined as divine presence, the garment, opening to the divine, opening to what the garment means. Okay, so the idea of the garment in the sacred garment is the radiant or illuminated outer appearance of the surging radiant energy that exists within all that is. For those who have eyes to see, it isn't just in the walking Shekhinah as, let's call it, a female form or something like that. Shekhinah actually goes into this space of meaning the holy garment. The garment appears, it's the shape and form of every plant, of every tree, of every animal, all of it that comes alive and is glittering as the divine presence in the holy Shekhinah. So that's why they call it a holy garment. It's a garment that covers everything that we can see, everything that we can perceive. And if we can open to this place, we can really come alive and see it everywhere we look. She is also called, I'm referring to her as she now, I'm going back to the Earth Sister as the Shekhinah, as representing that kind of energy. So what we want to be, who we want to be the Shekhinah walking. We want to be the radiant being walking. And we also want to be the one that perceives all of this majestic beauty, the beauty that we are walking through. She's also called the 10th Sephira, and I mentioned that she fits in the 10th sphere. She is considered to be the female partner of the Earth Brother who lives in sphere number 6, Tiferet. The Shekhinah is called Malkut. She's called Earth. She has all these different names, just like Mary has all these different names. She's called the Earth. She's called the Moon. She's called Matronita. She's called the Mirror and the Rose. She's called the Throne of Glory. She's called Justice. She is also called the Garden of Eden and the Holy Apple Orchard and the Apple Field. And those are all different ways that term Shekhinah is used in the Zohar. She is defined as the link between conscious and unconscious, the personal and the transpersonal, the mystical perspective. And this takes us into this deep place where creativity flowers when the human mind, which is divine for those who have ears to hear, right? The human mind draws upon its own divine source. She is also called the apple field. And it is said, quote, she grows sprouts of secrets and new flowerings of Torah. Those who constantly create new interpretations of Torah are harvesting her, harvesting the Shekhinah. She is God's immanence. She is called the daughter of Bina. Bina fits in sphere number 3 and is the sacred feminine. So she is the daughter of Bina, walking on earth or even as the earth, right? The daughter of Bina, the bride of Tiferet, the mother of the human soul, and she is the beginning of a mystical journey. All of those are from the Old Testament or from the Zohar or from the Talmud. And in the New Testament, Shekhinah also appears in the New Testament. Christ is a manifestation of the Shekhinah. His divine nature is called the Shekhinah. That's Colossians 2:9. Christ is the incarnation of the Shekhinah, Luke 1:35. Christ is the transfiguration, which is the Shekhinah. That's in 2 Peter 1:17. The ascension of the Shekhinah, Acts 1:9. The Shekhinah / Christ transforms us by her or his / Jesus spirit. We are transformed by that Holy Spirit, which is the Shekhinah spirit, which appears in Jesus. That's 2 Corinthians 3:18 and 2 Corinthians 4:6. These are direct translations of that word Shekhinah, and then how it applies to the Christed energy. They say where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty, but we all, with unveiled faces, beholding as in a mirror the glory of the Lord, are being transformed into the same image from glory to glory, just as from the Lord the Spirit. Okay, and that all of that transmutation and being transformed into the Spirit and seeing the Spirit and the vision of the Spirit, all of those are translations of the word Shekhinah. So that's what it means. It's all Shekhinah. For God, who said, light shall shine out of darkness, is the one who has shone in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Christ. That's also a translation of the word Shekhinah from Corinthians. The word Shekhinah is also translated as dwelling, and that's from the Talmud. Okay, now back to the Talmud for a minute. Those are all definitions of the word Shekhinah that I was just giving you, and the concept and the idea of Shekhinah, and it's everything coming alive and knowing that it is the very essence of the Spirit that is inhabiting everything and making everything become truly radiant. Now we're going to talk about the appearance for a minute and how it is said that the Shekhinah appears. So in the Talmud it says, she appears as the color of the sea. And that is one place where Mary begins to arise as the holy Shekhinah, because she's in her garment of sea, basically, the blue with the white pearls coming out of the water. So Mary is seen as an aspect of the Shekhinah. And I was also looking for, this is not in the Talmud, now I'm veering off for 1 second. You have seen probably images of Mary as Our Lady of Guadalupe. And she appears in oftentimes with a green cloak, green and gold perhaps. Okay, so that is very much earth-based. So we've got the Mary that we very frequently see, which is has a water-based cloak, but we also have the Mary appearing in her earth-based cloak as Virgin of Guadalupe. Okay, back to the Talmud. It is said that the Shekhinah appears everywhere, is omnipresent, but she is more deeply felt in places of spiritual attunement, such as sanctuaries. Sanctuaries, they say, are a medium for the recognition of the divine. So when we put ourselves in that space to find that, especially by going to, quote, a sacred ground or a holy place or something like that, we are much more likely to be able to activate those energies within ourselves. And there's a buildup of energy, they say, in places like that, where you're in a sanctuary, where there's a buildup of energy, and then you walk in and you can feel that energy. They say she appears in the midst of those who gather in prayer and spiritual study, and she also appears to those who pray and study alone. The Zohar says she reflects all aspects of divinity and sustains all the worlds below. This is her role. This is the role of the Shekhinah. So again, we're talking about the Shekhinah, and we're talking about the Shekhinah as Earth Sister walking. This is her role. She affects the human ability to prophecy or to interpret the will or to interpret the will of the divine. They call this hearing the daughter of a voice. So when we are in our Shekhinah energy, we can hear those whispers better, the daughter of a voice. It is said that the Shekhinah sustains angels. There you go. She is the angel's advocate. Angels require no physical nourishment, but they are sustained by the luster of the holy Shekhinah. Humans can also aspire to having the knowledge of the ministering angels, in that they have what is said, now this is out of the Talmud, humans have the erect stature of the angels, therefore they can aspire to being as the angels. There we go. The ministering angels. And as such, we also have the ability to converse in the holy tongue, which in this case is Hebrew, because I'm quoting the Talmud. Okay. Whenever angels appear, they say the glory of Shekhinah is to be found. And from the Jewish point of view, whenever Jews are in exile, the Shekhinah is with them. Okay, so if we are paying attention, we can raise that energy. If we are paying attention, no matter how bad, for me what this means is no matter how bad it gets in our life, if we can turn our attention in that direction, that holy divine energy will be with us, that angelic energy, that positive energy, and we can step into that place. It is also said that the Shekhinah appears at death and is beheld. So we can turn our thoughts in that direction at death and walk that path and come alive in that path. Okay, who is affected by, I'm giving you some different aspects of the Shekhinah. Who is impacted by the Shekhinah? Who is affected by the Shekhinah? How does this work? Okay, in the Talmud it says, the Shekhinah alights on one who is wise, humble, rich in moral perfection and contentment, one who is strong, one who prays, one who studies, and she is enjoyed by the worthy in the world to come. They say that we need to make ourselves worthy to receive the presence of the Shekhinah. They say the band of liars cannot receive the presence of the Shekhinah. And in this respect, they are associated with scoffers, hypocrites, and slanderers. The Shekhinah does not alight in the midst of idleness, sadness, jocularity, levity, or idle chatter, but in the midst of joy and religious duty. You must move within the divine flow of energy, or the Shekhinah will depart. Okay, how do I interpret this? I interpret this, I am always translating loosely. So I interpret this as, let's say, my own ability to shift my consciousness and attention into my own spiritual path and that which feels right to me in the sense of the right way that I need to live. And when I can see through those eyes, bring all those disparate players, I'm not quite sure how to say it, circumstances, bring it all together and bring it all alive as one field, and then come alive in that field as divinity, to see the field as divinity and come alive in the field as divinity. It's a matter of me reminding myself of where I want to be, of how I want to live, of who I want to be. The Zohar says, a human being who makes himself holy below is made holy above by the Blessed One, the Holy Shekhinah. Unless the Shekhinah takes up abode among humans, the world could not really be said to exist in the full sense of the term. That's from the Talmud. So what we're trying to do is bring the earth alive in the fullness of its sense, in what it could possibly be, bring ourselves alive in the fullest sense of that. So the Shekhinah also appears in the Gnostic Gospels, and she appears in the Gnostic Gospels as Sophia. She is called Sophia, the Divine Mother, Wisdom, the Eternal Mystical Silence, the Holy Spirit, and Chokmah, which is interesting, she who is before all things, incorruptible wisdom, and the first universal creator. She is also called Grace. Now, I think it's interesting that she appears as Chokmah, because we know at the top of the tree of life in sphere number 2, that's usually considered to be a male sphere. But when you place the Shekhinah as Chokmah in the sphere number 2, what you find there is you find the most exalted male is going to contain the Sophia wisdom within himself and the Holy Shekhinah within himself. So she appears as, even at the top of the male pillar on the tree of life, as Chokmah. So she can appear in both pillars of the tree of life as the Holy Shekhinah that all of us strive for, whether we're male or female. It doesn't matter if we're male or female. We're striving to hold these energies. The word Sophia, as I think you already know, translates as wisdom. And so that's what she essentially means. It's the Sophia, it's the Shekhinah as wisdom. It is written in the Gnostic Gospels, I am thought that dwells in the light. She who exists before the all. I move in every creature. I am the invisible one within the all. I am perception and knowledge, uttering a voice by means of thought. I am the real voice. I cry out in everyone, and they know a seed dwells within them. Wisdom is seen as the mother of all beings. The world originates when wisdom brings herself forth out of her own suffering. Earth, air, fire, and water are forms of her experiences. So this is all part of what we are learning to integrate and balance. She is also known, the Shekhinah is also known as Shakti. And Shakti is defined as the great goddess, the supreme power, the female counterpart of male spiritual seekers, which is why she may also appear on the male pillar of the tree of life, because she's the female counterpart of the male spiritual seekers. She appears as sexual energy, the essence of the universe, freedom, the divine or cosmic energy. She is active and conscious, and the active and conscious force of the divine, or active and conscious force of God, if you will. She is the play of destruction and creation, the divine power, and she is our primordial nature and the primordial nature of all that is. They say she is that which is beyond Maya, and Maya is the appearance of things. So she is that which is beyond Maya while still being Maya. So what that means is it's not just the appearance of things, but the appearance of things is real. It is real. It's as real as anything else. And it is divinely saturated with these radiant energies of the Shekhinah. The Divine Mother, that is who the Shekhinah is. And it is said, thou art all women, but it could be men too. You are nothing and you are emptiness. You are cause and you are effect. You are the void. And this is out of the book by Lizelle Raymond, and the book's called Shakti. The disciple says, tell me what is Tara. Tara is also a manifestation of the Shekhinah. Tell me what is Tara. The master says, Tara is the void. Disciple, tell me something more about it. Master, be quiet. Not another word. Do what I tell you to do. And that's the end. That's the end. I mean, you can't, because here I am talking all about it, right? Going all around it. Here are all these definitions. In the end, you can't really talk about it. You can only, in the end, really experience it. The Shekhinah as Shakti is also translated as power. And what about her appearance as Shakti? And it is said, there are temples in the mountains where the veil of Shakti is torn, giving a fleeting vision that fills one's whole life with beatitude. It's like suddenly the veil is rent and you see the truth behind it all. It is all divine. It is all holy. It is all sacred. Everywhere we step is sacred ground. What's the role of Shakti in our lives? And it is said that Shakti restores individual consciousness to its original simplicity with a whole mass of experience in the background. So we got all these definitions, we got all these ideas, but it all comes down to something very, very simple, an original simplicity. Her role is to impart knowledge. Her role is to grant grace, bless, 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 to give the blessing way, to leave a blessing where we pass, to walk in beauty and leave the blessing where we pass. It is also Shakti's role to link all. She is the link that links everything. She is the link between the dancer and the music, something that links us and moves us. Shakti is life in freedom. Life in freedom. The Hindu mystic describes experience logically only when a precise and definite aim must be attained. Otherwise, the stream of life flows unchecked, and the Shekhinah, Shakti, Sophia can flow as life unchecked, unless there's a question. Shekhinah, Sophia, and Shakti are transmitted. The whole idea is transmitted by silence, and by sound, and by contemplation, and by action. Earth Sister, as the Shekhinah for us, is about awakening into the knowledge of divinity within and without, in and around all things. All is sacred. All is sacred. If we open our eyes to see, if we open our ears to hear, if we open our hearts to feel, we will perceive the sacred Shekhinah within and all around us, in all beings and throughout the entire garment of the sacred cosmos. You will perceive the Shekhinah within yourself when you step into the beauty way and walk the beauty way. For thou art the tree of life. Thou art the tree of life.